Waking up early is often seen as a discipline. But for those who truly wish to dominate their day before the world even wakes, it becomes a lifestyle. The morning hours, especially those before the sun rises and the noise of the world begins, are filled with an unmatched serenity and power. These hours provide the most fertile ground for intentional growth. When you wake up and immediately jump into reaction mode, checking notifications, diving into work, or scrambling to catch up, you surrender control of your mind to external forces. But if instead, you choose to begin with a structured, purposeful routine, you take ownership of the day ahead, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Starting your day with intentional habits sets the psychological tone for everything that follows. In those quiet, early hours, your brain is most receptive, your mind is clearest, and your distractions are minimal. This creates the perfect environment to connect with yourself and your purpose before the noise of daily life begins to interfere. When you design a morning routine with intention, you're programming yourself to live on your terms rather than someone else's. That simple choice is one of the most powerful decisions you can make. One of the first practices of an intentional morning routine is mindfulness. Taking even 5 to 10 minutes for silent reflection, meditation, or focused breathing calms the nervous system and creates mental space. It helps you shift from a reactive mindset to a proactive one. Instead of being pulled in multiple directions by your to-do list or social media, you begin with clarity and stillness. This practice not only grounds you, but also fosters a level of mental resilience that carries you through high-stress moments later in the day. Journaling is another tool that adds depth to your intentional morning. Putting pen to paper enables you to externalize your thoughts, identify what truly matters, and release mental clutter. Some people use this time to express gratitude, reinforcing a mindset of abundance. Others use it to set clear intentions for the day, what they need to focus on, what kind of person they want to be, or how they want to respond to challenges. When you write down your priorities and values before anyone else influences your mind, you anchor yourself to your true path. You are less likely to be derailed by other people's agendas or the unexpected events of the day. Goal setting in the morning is not about listing a dozen tasks, but about narrowing down the 1 or 2 most meaningful actions that will move your life forward. This is not just productivity, it's purpose-driven execution. When you decide in the stillness of the morning what matters most, you are not just filling time, you are investing in your future. Imagine if every morning began with such clarity. Over time, these seemingly small intentions compound into extraordinary progress. Many people fail to realize that our emotional tone for the day is often established within the first 30 minutes of waking up. If that time is filled with stress, rushing, or mindless scrolling, it sends signals to your brain that you are behind, reactive, or out of control. On the other hand, if your morning begins with intentional practices, such as stretching, movement, affirmations, or reading something inspirational, you start the day with a sense of empowerment and calm. That emotional baseline determines how you handle everything from traffic jams to business negotiations. A good morning does not eliminate problems, it prepares you to handle them with strength and clarity. It's also important to understand that intentionality is not about perfection. Some mornings will be harder than others. But the commitment to show up for yourself before the world shows up for you builds trust and discipline within. Over time, this becomes identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who is trying to improve and start seeing yourself as someone who leads their life with purpose. That mental shift is everything. The best part about mastering your morning through intentional routine is that it's fully customizable. It doesn't matter if it's 20 minutes or 2 hours. The point is that the time belongs to you. It's not dictated by emails, bosses, children, or social media. It's your sanctuary. And what you do with it is a reflection of what you value most. People often say they don't have time. But the truth is, we all have the same 24 hours. Those who dominate their day before the world even wakes are the ones who claim their time before it is taken from them. Ultimately, a deliberate morning routine is not just about efficiency. It's about self-respect. It's about saying to yourself, I matter enough to take this time for me. That one belief, that your time, energy, and goals are worth protecting, transforms how you live every single day. When you own your mornings, you don't just get more done. You become more of who you're meant to be. And that's the true power of mastering your mornings through intentional routine. The first hour of your day holds the power to shape your mindset, productivity, and overall trajectory. When you wake up and immediately win that first hour, you establish a rhythm that echoes throughout the rest of the day. This hour is not about rushing or multitasking. It's about setting an intentional pace that promotes clarity, discipline, and focus. When you take control of your time from the very beginning, you build momentum. And momentum is the quiet engine behind consistent action, confidence, and long-term success. Far too often, people start their day in chaos, waking up late, checking their phones, skipping breakfast, or jumping straight into work with no clear direction. This kind of reactive behavior puts you on defense from the very start. It creates anxiety and a false sense of urgency that persists throughout the day. Instead of leading your life, you're chasing it. But the moment you claim that first hour with intention, everything shifts. You begin the day with calm control and consciousness. You decide what deserves your energy, and you give yourself the mental, emotional, and physical strength to pursue it. Movement is one of the best ways to activate your body and brain during the first hour. Whether it's a full workout, stretching, yoga, or even a walk. Physical activity wakes up your system and sends endorphins into your bloodstream. These natural chemicals elevate your mood, sharpen your focus, and improve memory and cognitive function. When your blood is flowing and your muscles are engaged, you feel more alive and capable. You don't just wake up physically, you ignite your drive. That early sense of vitality sets a tone of strength and momentum that carries into every meeting, conversation, and decision. Hydration is another simple but powerful act that many overlook. After hours of sleep, your body is naturally dehydrated. Drinking water, especially with lemon or electrolytes, replenishes your cells and jumpstarts your metabolism. It's a small habit that reinforces a message to your subconscious: you're taking care of yourself. Layering these small intentional acts creates a ritual of respect for your body, your goals, and your potential. The first hour is also the perfect time to feed your mind. Just as your body needs fuel, so does your intellect and spirit. Reading a few pages of a powerful book, listening to a motivational podcast, or writing down affirmations stimulates your mind with positive input. It creates a protective barrier against negativity and fear that might try to enter your day later. The first messages your brain receives in the morning are like seeds. They either grow into empowering thoughts or limiting beliefs. Choose wisely. When you decide to pour in knowledge, wisdom, or inspiration during the first hour, you sharpen your vision and elevate your internal dialogue. Instead of self-doubt, you cultivate confidence and purpose. One often underestimated element of the first hour is silence. In a world filled with notifications, media, and constant stimulation, silence has become rare. But it's deeply valuable. Sitting in silence, whether through meditation, prayer, or simple breathing, allows you to listen to your inner voice. It gives your nervous system a break and allows your thoughts to organize themselves without interference. This creates clarity and reduces the tendency to act impulsively or emotionally throughout the day. A few moments of silence in the morning is not wasted time, it's mental armor. Another key aspect is reviewing your intentions for the day. This is not about creating an overwhelming to-do list. It's about identifying your top priorities. When you define what success looks like for the next 12-16 hours, you eliminate decision fatigue and stay aligned with your larger goals. You begin with purpose, not confusion. Writing down 3 main objectives or reviewing your calendar can help you visualize how you want the day to unfold. This gives your mind direction and helps you avoid distractions. You're not just busy, you're productive with meaning. By owning the first hour, you train your mind to respond to challenges instead of reacting. When inevitable obstacles arise, you meet them with calm and control rather than panic or resistance. That's because you've already established mental stability and momentum. You've already done the hard part, showing up for yourself when no one is watching, when it's easy to sleep in or hit snooze. That internal victory is what builds confidence. You've proven to yourself that you are the kind of person who takes action with intention. That identity is far more powerful than motivation. Winning the first hour is not about creating a perfect routine. It's about designing a ritual that aligns with your goals and values. It's about removing randomness and replacing it with rhythm. This hour doesn't belong to your boss, your clients, your phone, or your problems. It belongs to you, and what you do with it will echo in every part of your life. When you repeatedly claim victory over that first hour, something profound happens. Your self-image changes. You begin to see yourself not as someone who's always behind, but as someone who leads from the front. That belief permeates how you speak, how you carry yourself, how you make decisions. You walk into your day with power because you started it with purpose. And in a world that constantly pulls you in every direction, that quiet, early victory is your secret weapon. There is a unique power in operating while the rest of the world is still asleep. In those early morning hours, when silence blankets the world and distractions are virtually non-existent, you gain access to a kind of clarity, focus, and productivity that cannot be replicated later in the day. While others are still in bed, caught in dreams or pressing snooze, you have already taken the first steps toward your goals. This is where the competitive edge is born, not from talent alone, but from discipline, consistency, and the will to act when no one else is watching. The early riser's advantage lies in their ability to execute without interference, to work while others delay, and to build a life of intention before the day begins for everyone else. One of the most overlooked aspects of personal development is the value of undistracted time. During the day, demands come from every direction: emails, texts, meetings, obligations, emergencies. Even your own thoughts can become crowded with external noise. But in the early morning, there is stillness. That stillness becomes a sacred space where you can hear yourself clearly, plan strategically, and act decisively. There's no competition for your attention, no notifications pulling you away from your purpose. This is where deep work lives. Whether you are working on a business idea, writing a book, training your body, or simply strategizing your week, this is when your mind is most alert, your creativity most alive, and your willpower untouched by fatigue. There is a psychological confidence that comes from starting strong. When you rise before the world and take action, you enter the day already ahead. It's not about perfection or doing a million things before 7 a.m. It's about taking control early and making progress before others have even begun. That sense of momentum becomes your fuel. You walk into meetings more prepared. You approach challenges with clarity. You don't panic when your day gets chaotic, because you've already accomplished meaningful work before breakfast. This sense of quiet victory builds internal strength and self-belief, and over time, it transforms the way you view yourself and what you believe you're capable of. In a world where most people are reactive, those who operate early are proactive. They're not scrambling to meet deadlines. They're setting the agenda. They're not waiting for opportunities. They're creating them. Success is rarely about doing more than others in the moment. It's about consistently doing the right things while others procrastinate. If you commit to making use of those quiet hours every day, you begin to outpace others not because you're working harder, but because you're working smarter and earlier. You're building systems, developing skills, and making decisions that will eventually put you miles ahead. This early advantage isn't just about output, it's also about identity. The act of waking up early and choosing to work on yourself when no one else is watching builds an unshakable mindset. It says something powerful to your subconscious. I am in control of my life. I do what others won't. I am committed to becoming better. That repetition of self-leadership creates mental toughness, which is one of the most valuable assets you can possess. Life will challenge you. There will be setbacks, stress, and moments of uncertainty. But when you've trained yourself to rise early and work when it's uncomfortable, you develop the grit to keep going when others quit. Another major benefit of starting early is the compound effect of consistent effort. 1 hour of focused work each morning may not seem revolutionary in a single day, but over weeks, months, and years, it leads to mastery. Imagine what you could build with just 1 hour every morning, devoted to your goals, without distraction, without interruption. That's 30 hours a month. 365 hours a year. That's the equivalent of 9 full-time work weeks of uninterrupted progress. Most people never find this time because they're waiting for motivation or free hours that never come. The truth is, successful people don't find time, they create it, and they do it before the sun comes up. Beyond career and productivity benefits, operating early gives you emotional and mental space. When you've already accomplished meaningful work or personal development before 8 a.m., you walk into your day with less stress. You don't feel like you're playing catch-up. You're more present with your family, more composed in difficult conversations, and more energized because you've already aligned your actions with your goals. That alignment creates peace, and peace is a performance enhancer. To live this way consistently requires discipline. It's not glamorous. There are days you won't feel like getting up. There are mornings that will test your resolve. But the early hours are not just for action. They're for transformation. Every time you resist comfort and choose growth, you build a stronger, more capable version of yourself. You prove that you're not ruled by your emotions, but led by your vision. Operating while others sleep isn't about superiority, it's about self-respect. It's the quiet declaration that your dreams, your health, your mind, and your purpose matter enough to show up for. Even when it's hard, it's not the loudest path, but it is the one that changes lives. And in the end, that early hour becomes more than just time. It becomes your edge. In a world saturated with noise, digital noise, social noise, mental noise, finding moments of stillness has become one of the rarest and most valuable forms of self-connection. The early morning hours, before the world stirs and demands begin to pour in, provide the clearest path to this inner silence. It's in these quiet moments that you can hear the voice that gets drowned out during the day, your own. The early hours allow you to strip away the expectations, opinions, and judgments of the world and reconnect with your core truth. When the rest of the world is still asleep, your mind is unpolluted, your heart is open, and your vision is unobstructed. You are not performing, you are simply being, and in that state, incredible clarity is possible. Throughout the day, our attention is constantly hijacked by emails, deadlines, notifications, social media feeds, and the energy of other people. These constant inputs shape our moods, shift our priorities, and often lead us away from our authentic desires. We end up responding to life instead of creating it. But in the silence of early morning, none of those inputs have yet arrived. You have a window in which your thoughts are your own, your focus is unbroken, and your emotions are not yet entangled in the chaos of the external world. This sacred time gives you a rare opportunity to ask important questions. Who am I right now? What do I want? Am I moving in the direction that aligns with my deeper values? These questions are often buried under the weight of routine and responsibility, but they are the compass of your life. Without space to ask them, it's easy to drift. Gratitude is one of the most powerful practices you can bring into this quiet time. In the early morning, before the distractions of the day can shift your energy, you can pause and acknowledge what is good. This doesn't have to be dramatic or forced. It can be as simple as feeling thankful for your breath, the roof over your head, the people you love, or the opportunities ahead. Gratitude practiced in silence roots you in the present. It elevates your mindset and neutralizes the anxiety that often comes with thinking about the future. It's hard to be fearful when you're grounded in appreciation. Gratitude brings your focus to what's right instead of what's missing, and starting your day with that perspective gives you a foundation of peace and joy that is incredibly hard to shake. Visualization is another powerful tool that thrives in morning stillness. When your mind is quiet, your imagination becomes clearer. You can see your goals not as distant fantasies, but as realities you are moving toward. In that quiet space, you can imagine how you want your day to unfold, not just what you want to do, but how you want to feel. You can mentally rehearse conversations, outcomes, and challenges from a position of strength. This primes your subconscious to begin searching for ways to align your actions with your intentions. It programs your brain to seek solutions, focus on opportunities, and filter out distractions. Visualization isn't just a motivational technique, it's a neurological exercise that shapes your behavior, and it's most effective when done in silence, before the noise of the world has a chance to take root. Stillness also creates the environment necessary for emotional regulation. When you give yourself space to simply sit, breathe, and observe your inner world without judgment, you start to understand your emotions better. You recognize patterns. You identify triggers. You begin to separate your thoughts from your identity. Instead of being ruled by anger, fear, or stress, you learn to witness those feelings and respond to them with awareness. This emotional intelligence doesn't just improve your mornings, it transforms your relationships, your leadership, and your ability to navigate adversity. The stillness of early morning is also the birthplace of creativity. Some of the most innovative ideas, breakthrough solutions, and inspired insights emerge not when you're rushing, multitasking, or overthinking, but when you are calm, centered, and receptive. In the silence, your mind can wander in a focused way. Connections form. Inspiration arrives. You access a deeper layer of thinking that's often inaccessible during the noisy hours of the day. For writers, artists, entrepreneurs, and creators of all kinds, this time is gold. It's when imagination meets clarity and ideas turn into plans. Above all, the early morning silence teaches you to trust yourself. When you spend time in your own presence, without distraction, you begin to realize that the answers you've been searching for externally often live within you. You start to develop a relationship with your intuition, a soft but powerful inner guidance that can't be heard in the noise. You learn that you don't need constant input to make good decisions. You just need space to listen. Building a practice of early morning stillness doesn't require perfection. It's not about meditating for an hour or reaching some spiritual benchmark. It's about creating a habit of checking in with yourself before the world checks in with you. It's about giving yourself permission to be quiet, to breathe, and to remember who you are and what matters. That alone can reshape your day, because when you start your morning grounded in peace, purpose, and self-awareness, you carry that energy into everything you do. And in a world full of noise, being rooted in your own truth is a rare and powerful advantage.